We're cooking.
We are rolling.
Hi, everybody. Montana. We are making some pretty familiar dishes today. So I'm going to do a manigot. And what do you got going on there, Mom?
Manigot, huh? Are you from Long Island? Is that where that's coming from? A little Sicilian. Manicotti, if you're from Tuscany. And anyway, I'm doing a kind of a healthier version of the same thing. I'm doing an eggplant rollatini, which is essentially the same thing, only it swaps out the pasta for eggplant. So makes it a little bit healthier.
I'm going to go with...
You want to be the first? You want to go ahead?
I think I will.
Okay, good.
So I have one more thing to roll out. I already rolled out. If you guys watched my clock watch people. If you guys already watched the first episode, we already showed you how to do the pasta. So I have one more left because I procrastinated a little bit. So I'm just going to finish this one up and I can start rolling it out.
So how many pounds did you make? Did you make just one?
Did I do what?
How many pounds? You made like 1 pound?
I'm not really sure the poundage ratio, honestly. What is 3 eggs for, well, I mean, at this point, I use 3 cups of flour. What is that?
So pound and a half, about a pound and a half. A cup of flour is 8 ounces, pound is 16. So.
Seriously?
Yeah. I'm please, homeschooling mother to homeschool daughter, still trying to learn fractions. Oh, my goodness.
Let me explain something to you. My children bring me their homework, and I'm like, I don't, get out of here with that. I don't know how to do that. Fractions? Really?
Seriously? Now you're doing
never my strong suit. Math was never my thing. I could never win that.
I'll give you that.
When I went to the college when I was 16 that Dad insisted I went to, he made me do chemistry. Do you remember that? Do you know why I passed?
Go ahead.
I made friends with the smartest kid in the room.
Well, which is also why you're good at poker.
Yeah, I was a little bit of I was pretty good at poker.
Those look beautiful, by the way. What number did you end up on?
3. I think 3 is, yeah. It depends on, like you said, it depends on the weather. It depends on so many
things.
Yeah, and those eggs were kind of smaller, so we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
It's terrible. It's terrible.
So, smartest kid in the class, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But you were 16 going to college, so I give you a little bit of grace there. You know?
I need a little bit of credit on that one, right? I mean, and it was chemistry, and I suck at math.
Which Dad wanted you to go to because, let's face it, we're both pharmacists, so he really wanted you to excel at what he felt he excelled at.
Correct.
Or he could help you with, depending on your point of view.
And I ended up just going to be a police officer, so.
Yeah, well.
It's kind of took a turn for him.
Kid's got to do what a kid's got to do.
All right, so I'm going to do sauce.
You going to make your sauce? Okay.
No, I did it. Sauce is done.
Oh, already made. Good. Yeah, mine's made too. Excellent. Because, we do it in big batches, right? Yep. A whole lot easier that way.
Okay, I'm going to do my sauce.
Do one big one and be done.
Anytime I do stuffed shells too, I always put sauce at the bottom. Some people don't do that, but.
Oh, they don't. They just stick horribly if you don't.
I know, but some people don't like sauce. I like a lot of it. I'm kind of a big fan. Oh, my mixture. I gotta do that. Okay.
What do you gotta do?
My ricotta mixture.
Ricotta.
Okay, so you taught me this.
Yep.
It's kind of a cool thing too. I don't know if people know this, but some of the brands of ricotta cheese, and a lot of the cheeses, the store brand actually only has milk, vinegar, salt. That's it.
And this one, mine has got, which is a little twist on it. I found a stracciatella, which in Italian means rags. So this is actually burrata filling, which is shreds of mozzarella rags in cream and milk, cream, vinegar, enzyme, salt. That's really what you're looking for. You're looking for somebody that's making cheese in the real fashion of making cheese, not guar gum and xanthan gum and, words that even I maybe can't pronounce or know what they are. So you really want, if you're not making your own cheese, you want to at least buy somebody's that is doing something. So what's my grand dog doing now? Does she get
awful? She will bark at just about anything. Not an exaggeration, just about anything.
So my grand dog Daisy was on Facebook the other day in a kind of a collage of pictures. If you didn't see it, she was sitting like this, like she was ready to smoke a cigarette or something. It was utterly hilarious. I don't know how you captured that face, but giving that.
No. I look over and I see that. Like, can I help you? Want egg?
Crazy Daisy.
She's not well. She's almost like not a dog. She's like a half bear, half human. Okay. So I'm just gonna do an egg.
One egg. And how much cheese do you have in there, do you think? Half cup?
This is 15 ounces.
15? About an egg to every pound.
Do you really measure anything?
No, I like ratios because I actually like math and fractions are my friend. So
it's a weird friend
like that.
All right, then let me appease you here. I'm gonna go with a good handful and a half. What is that?
Excellent. Is that a parm and combo? Parm and Romano or just parm?
Parmigiano.
Nice. So you know me, I kind of take whatever hard cheese I got in my refrigerator that's been there a while. I drop in the food processor, I grind it all up and call it cheese. So mine is I'm going to be mixing in a minute. It's really, I have no idea what it is. It's Parm, Asiago, probably some Romano, maybe Locatelli. Could be anything.
At this point.
Anything, and that when my grandma showed me different ways to cook, there were different recipes like this, or like what you're making. And the reason that it existed was to clean out the refrigerator. So they took the meat, the salami, the soppressata, the prosciutto, all of that stuff, and they ground it. And then they took all the rest of the cheese and they ground it. And that's why it never tastes the same 2 times in a row, because there wasn't any real recipe. The recipe was clean out the refrigerator and don't waste anything, because God knows they didn't waste anything. Give me your favorite rendition of your Grandma Gibbons, my mama Ippoliti. What do you remember most about her being frugal?
Canned peas.
Oh God, yes. And then let's want to feed them to us the first night in Sonino, right? Did you look at me like you set this up? You did that.
I thought you did
that. You looked at me like it was my fault that she fed you spaghetti with scrambled egg and peas.
So no, it wasn't scrambled egg. It was penne that was very undercooked, by the way. All right, just hold on. Catch everyone up here. Just black pepper till it looks like it's peppery. Basil, oregano till it looks like it's seasoned. We're gonna throw some cheese in here. I'm gonna try to appease you. I'm gonna go with half a cup.
It's free license to add cheese. I mean, it's cheese filling after all, right?
It is.
So
tablespoon of garlic. Tablespoon of garlic. I'm gonna do some salt to taste, Avi. Then I'm gonna roll them out. Then it's your turn. But no, so Grandma was waste not, want not. So there's one time, never forget this. She wouldn't let us leave the table unless we finished everything on our plate. And with the meal, which was basically anything in the fridge, a gigantic glass of eggnog. Remember how much she loved that?
God.
And she wouldn't let us leave the table until that was completely gone. Every last drop and everything on your plate was gone, even though you didn't even want it. It didn't even matter if you were hungry or not. And then she goes, if you finish, you can have dessert. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to plug my nose, which she hated that I did that. I'm going to plug my nose and I'm just going to plow through this. So I did that. I drank the whole thing after sitting there for quite some time. Tony and Frank were, dismissed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. What did she give me for ice cream? Got nothing?
No.
Eggnog ice cream.
Her favorite, though, in her defense, her favorite.
Eggnog?
Ice cream. Any kind of ice cream. Yeah, eggnog ice cream.
Oh, that's good. We're going to go with that. Okay. Ooh, that's really good. All right, I'm going to flour this a little bit. Yeah, who eats that, though?
Your grandma did.
She put this little weird complex that I have now in me where I walk around the house turning lights off. Ask Ben, he hates it. Between Dad and Grandma.
Oh, Dad leaves the lights on everywhere. It's not him. Your grandfather out in Clyde. Now that guy turned every light off, every thermostat down, good angle. So I can see what you're doing. Nice. So you're flouring it and you're on granite. So, you've got that going for you.
Yep. Just make it.
You don't want to over flour it because it won't stick to itself.
You said 4, 1, 2, 3. So this is
you don't want to over cheese it because if you over cheese it, it won't cook. It'll be like super squishy and soft in the center and the cheese will be cooked on the outside. You really don't want that.
Everyone likes super squishy.
Yeah, I like super squishy.
I do.
Roly roll.
Roly, 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 poly. Oh my gosh.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm absolutely not angry at this.
So, you know what time of year it is, right? It's harvest time. Do you remember what we were doing many years ago up north this time of year?
No.
So many tomatoes. So many tomatoes. So many tomatoes. So many peppers. Oh, that looks lovely. Beautiful. So you're going to get how many in there? 6, you think?
More than that. I think, this is going to have. I think this is going to be a solid tray of maybe 2, 4, 6, maybe 10.
Okay.
12.
So while you're doing that, I'm going to mix up a little cheese myself.
Oh, and also with this cheese, if you have leftover cheese, putting it on pasta is not a crime. There's egg in it, so you kind of have to, you'd have to bake it for, like you said, what was it, 20 minutes tops? Not even?
There's nothing there that really has to be cooked. I mean, it can all be eaten just the way it is. So, there's really no reason to worry about it. And I'm just mixing my cheese up too while you're doing that because I want to be doing my eggplant next. And
Yeah, but I actually want to watch you this time. So.
All right. Well, all I did was the stracciatella, and I put some like grated cheese, whatever blend that came out of my refrigerator in.
So this is another thing. Back in the day, you tried to teach me all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But you know where you lost me?
Past the math or hanging from a tree?
Both. But let's go with the math part of you being chemistry about it. And I was like, here we go. Everything has to be a lesson. Everything has to be science. I just want to learn how to make pasta to feed my face. Nope.
Yeah.
Nope. Had to be a whole thing.
Had to be.
Okay,
I wanted you to understand why it had to be that way. But,
I don't care how it's done. I just want to eat it.
But now you do because you figured out how it was done.
Well, now I have to care because I have people in my family.
In your care.
That I have to take care of. Look at that. Oh my gosh, this is
beautiful.
I am not angry at all.
We'll talk a little bit more later, but we came back from out west and we were with your Uncle Dave and Aunt Anna, and enchiladas was on the menu. And I thought to myself, see, every culture wants something rolled inside of something made out of flour with cheese and or meat, and then baked because it's delicious.
Do you think we could put could this be a meat sauce thing? Is this could you put meat?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I know there's another name for it, but yeah, they certainly do that. And my grandmother, she didn't have that much meat in her refrigerator. I mean, we've talked about it before. She had 11 children. So feeding 13 people in the Depression did not involve very much meat. But when she did later on, my dad at the restaurant used to bring her the meat ends. So the things that they cut from the ends of the deli meat and stuff like that, that he didn't have a whole lot of use for, he used to bring to her, and she would grind it. And then she would make, this sort of thing into a meat-filled pasta, which again, just was whatever he happened to bring her. It could have been ham. It could have been roast beef. It could have been, prosciutto. I mean, honestly, my dad had beef tongue on the menu, and that's a very Italian thing. So if he brought her any kind of leftover beef tongue, that definitely went in there. So I wonder, did you ever get to try the beef tongue when I made it, or when the restaurant was open?
I'm gonna go ahead and say no.
No, it tastes a lot like, I mean, it's just a mussel. It's not any different from any other mussel. It just tastes like really cooked beef. But
yeah, almost.
That looks beautiful. So now you're going to do what? You're going to top it with some sauce.
Yep, I'm going to show. Hold on. I got to put my leftover hanging pasta up here. That's for a different time. That's
beautiful. And your oven's set at what? 350, 375?
350.
Medium oven.
Got a little.
Yeah. Nice medium oven. And so what did you do different with that sauce marinara? You put some chicken stock, or what did you do different to work with this fresh pasta?
I actually did not this time, because when I do the chicken parm pasta, it's hard to concentrate.
It is. Yeah, it is. I know. It's hard to talk and cook at the same time.
I didn't this time because when I do the chicken parm, I cook everything in one pot.
Okay.
The COVID chicken parm that I call it.
Right.
I do that in one pot, so the pasta actually boils in it. This, I might add extra sauce, I think, on top.
Yeah. Well, you can check it halfway through and see how it looks. If it looks like it's too dry, you can add a little water or chicken stock or some more sauce. Maybe check it at 10 minutes and just see where it's going, because that pasta is going to absorb. But the cheese is also going to release some water as it denatures. So the protein in the cheese is going to denature with the heat. And when protein denatures and it seizes up, it releases the whey from, it is in my DNA. So it is going to release the water. And that's why, baked pasta can get runny and it can look like you're serving it in a bowl with soup, because the moisture releases as the protein seasons up.
So also, that's actually, I'm going to give it to you. That's a good point. That's why when I make anything pasta related, fresh pasta related, low moisture does not work out for me.
Right.
It doesn't. I have to use whole milk, full fat, but it's actually, I don't think it's that much. I don't think it's bad for you.
Not in small quantities, and I'll talk a little bit more about that when I do the panna cotta, because I've swapped out some of that to save on the fat, and I'll tell you why. But yeah, no, it's not in small quantities like that. It's totally not, and it does help. You have to have that balance, and why the chemistry is important is because unless you know what the function of that ingredient is in the recipe, you really can't swap it out, because you don't know what it's giving to the character of the finished dish unless you understand the chemistry of the whole equation, which is why I love to write recipes. So that looks beautiful. And it's a single layer.
Yep. One layer. Going in.
Okay. Going in. All right. Here I go.
Your turn.
All right. So I just took the stracciatella and I mixed it with some grated cheese, my mixture, my unknown blend, and I put some of my Italian mix seasoning.
I'm coming.
My Italian seasoning, which I absolutely love, and I I don't buy a lot of blends, but this one I buy, and I buy it from myspiceh.com. Comes right out of New York City. Super duper fresh. You have to buy your own containers. It comes in a plastic, but you save a ton of money. You get really the best spices. But look at how thick this is. I mean, it's like super thick. So what I'm going to do and show you is, because I'm trading out the pasta for the eggplant, you have to treat this kind of special. So eggplant's one of those things, it's a super slippery kind of vegetable. And do you remember we used to get so much of this time of year, and I'd be like, oh my God, what am I going to do with all this eggplant? I just can't give it all away. We've got 2 acres of garden. I spent all year on it. We need to eat it. So I came up with different ways. So one of the things that I do is I cut the one side off so that it doesn't rock and roll, because there's nothing cool about rock and roll on your cutting board. And I have my vegetable knife here, which, Dan, there you go. This is my Eastern blade. Eastern blade is a 15% angle versus a 20 on my American blade, which doesn't sound like a lot, but try cutting an onion or an eggplant and you know that it's a lot. So I'm very carefully, because Julia Child managed very gracefully to bleed on camera. I'm not her. So we're going to try not to cut ourselves. So right there, I just screwed up a slice. I got one good one, and I got one half of one. But one half of one is good for the next one that happens. That's going to be the other half. So this is going to get on a paper towel. And what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to slice just a few, because it's not entertaining on any level to watch somebody slice eggplant. So cut.
Okay.
And what I want to just show you, oh, there's the other half. See? Didn't take me any time at all. There you go.
When you do eggplant parm, do you do the same thing? Do you keep the halves and put them together?
I do. Because of that. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not like the ugly sister. It's just the other half that didn't make it. So as you can see, I got them here on a paper towel. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to salt them on both sides. I'm not going to cook these, but I'm going to very generously salt them. And I say generously because the salt is going to pull the water out. And when the water comes out of them, so also will the salt go into the paper towel. So you don't need to worry about that. But you can see the texture of this guy right now. There's no way I'm going to roll that into anything. I'm trying to cut them as thin as I can. I mean, I got a good knife. I would do it on a mandolin, but I'm willing to bet that there's a lot of you out there that don't know what a mandolin is. And even if you do, you probably don't own one. I happen to own one, Anna. You do not, correct?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay, so there you go. So this is what they look like after they've been salted and set for a while. So you can see they're 100% just limp and rolly and easy to work with, like pasta. And the salt has all gone into the paper towel, as has the moisture. So what I'm going to do is, just like you did, I'm going to take my baking dish that I'm going to use, my Pyrex, and I'm going to put my already made sauce in the bottom.
Can you guys imagine having a math teacher, a science teacher, a religion teacher, a gym teacher, a history teacher like this one? You see why I fell asleep in the kitchen when you were talking? I'm just used to it.
I don't know how you weren't committed to some institution at this point.
Like
I
you
wouldn't have wanted to bed you with me.
You start getting scientific on me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm listening. Totally.
I'm checked out.
No, I'm here. Yep. 7 plus 7. Got it.
Right here. Oh, God. All right. So I'm going to. All right. Oh, I just moved myself totally off camera. Okay. So this is literally thick enough that I can do this with it and just kind of make this little pocket and roll it up.
Oh, you don't roll it all the way then. You just put like almost like a stuffed shell.
Well, this is a little pygmy guy. You know, they're not all really big. I hate to waste food. I was raised by, your grandmother.
You were?
Yeah. Yep. So, you can't waste anything. Got to find a way to use it. Whoop that. All right. Well, the dog will appreciate that.
I don't know how many times you've cut the moldy part off a cheese and been like, it's fine. You're fine. Yeah.
Your father might watch this.
Traumatized. Oh, it's expired? It's only been 2 weeks.
That's a sell-by date.
That's what you used to say. That's just a weird guideline. No, Mom. No, it's not.
Sell-by date. It's best if used by.
Yeah, it's best
decision anyway.
Best if used by, which means you could.
I mean,
And
It's not how that works.
whoever said that?
The Food Administration.
Nah. USDA? Nah.
Yeah,
We don't
don't worry about those pesky guys.
We don't trust that stuff. So this basically saves eggplant is a carbohydrate. Obviously, it is a vegetable, but it's way lower in carbohydrate than
It's one of the lowest, right? It's one of the lowest, isn't it?
Yeah, it's one of the lowest. So I've essentially just done kind of that, and I'm going to put a little sauce on top, and I'm going to pop it in the oven. This stracciatella actually has mozzarella in it, so I'm not putting any on top because it's all going to kind of melt and gooey outside anyway.
What are you doing at 350?
Yeah, this oven, we're in an apartment and I don't have a lot of control over anything here, so it's not as hot of an oven as the beautiful Thermador that I had up north that spoiled me to death. But as you would expect me to calibrate an oven, I did calibrate the oven and stop it.
I'm sure
Yeah.
you did.
And so this is the one that I'm going to pull out that I did. And I know yours is in, but this one I did ahead of time. So basically it looks just like you'd expect it to look. It's just kind of melty and wonderful.
Beautiful.
I'm going to leave this other to kind of set, put a little basil because I just love basil.
I'm obsessed with fresh basil.
Anything that is in the nightshade family. And eggplant, tomato, peppers are all in the nightshade family. So
When your son was here, he went out in my herb garden. He was like, I'm just going to try your basil. And he just started picking it and eating it. I'm like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I love it.
I
would wear it as a perfume if they made it. I would put it in my essential oil thing if they gave me basil oil to put into the essential oils.
I probably wouldn't just eat it, though.
Oh, caprese. That's what you do with a caprese.
Yeah, but
And
there's
how about this with a caprese, huh? A little of this stuff with tomato and basil.
I mean, I wouldn't just eat leaves.
Well, it's delish. So I got a recipe back here. I know, can you see it from back here? No, you can't.
No.
All right, so they can do a still shot if they want it after panna cotta.
There you
So
go.
what I did was a very Italian dessert. And I think it's a very intimidating Italian dessert because people feel like it needs to be turned out like a flan. And it really doesn't. It doesn't taste any different if you take it out of the container or if you eat it in the container, frankly. Does it show a level of culinary expertise? Do you care? Really? Does it really matter that you can turn a flan out? Because when I grew up in the 60s and 70s and people turned out gelatin desserts from molds, they were mostly epic fails. And even when it was a success, it was disgusting. So
You're talking about those weird meat pie things or minced meat.
Oh, yeah. We go from gross to beyond gross. So basically you see the recipe. So what I've got here, I heated it up ahead of time. I've got 3/4, because I did half this recipe because there's only 2 of us in the household. And if I keep this around, I am going to eat it. I've got 3/4 of a cup of fat-free half and half instead of the heavy cream that's in the recipe. And I've got Splenda instead of the sugar. So I've got sugar-free, fat-free going on so far. To this, what I'm going to add, I've got a 1.5 tablespoons of water that I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of gelatin to. And it's got to go into cold water. Don't ever make that mistake of adding it into anything else because you will pay the price dearly for that. How do you screw up Jell-O? That's how you screw up Jell-O. So you can see it's already starting to take some kind of life here. So this is not Jell-O. This is this kind of Jell-O. It's plain gelatin. This stuff will set up anything. So the fat isn't needed when you're making a panna cotta with this. If you're going to do it straight up, without something like this, you need all the fat. But the beauty of this is that you don't need all the fat. And you can see it's already forming. Oh, I used my spatula already. I'll grab another spatula.
Remember when we made soap that one time and you were explaining all this to me?
We made soap many times. Actually, I make soap almost every year. That was
Yep.
fun. Oh, that was live. So sodium hydroxide in the eye, not fun. Not a good idea. Do you remember the first time we did it all by hand, and we had to have the rubber gloves on, and the gloves were melting?
How about, no, that's not what I remember. I remember when I did it, you let me do it for the first time. You let me pour the stuff in. I think it was the lye, and I did it like really quick because I was impatient.
No, not you.
Yeah.
No.
And you were like, that wasn't fun.
No bueno. So I'm going into the hot liquid with this chillin'. Oh God. Yes. Well, we did a few things. Do you remember the root beer?
That was good.
You don't remember that?
Yeah, I do. It was good.
Remember the bombs going off in the basement with the root beer that didn't totally set up, that we put the seals on and they blew up in the old cellar, the dirt cellar, and then the fruit flies that followed. Oh, the best part of all.
Or the homemade wine in those gigantic jugs.
And the siphons that I caught several of you making sure the air was
We didn't want you to get poisoned.
Yeah, I know. You were so good to me. So this is Greek yogurt. This is 2% Greek yogurt. So I'm swapping out again, something healthy in here.
What is that?
Greek yogurt. Oh, it's a measuring thing.
No, yeah, the measuring thing.
I love chemistry. Look at that's a way to really measure thick things like mayonnaise and yogurt, and peanut butter. And if you ever tried to get that stuff out of a measuring cup,
Eyeball it.
it's an act of heroism, and then you leave most of it behind.
You eyeball it.
Not when you're a pharmacist. People frown on that. People could die from that. You have to measure.
You're making pills, not in a cheddar.
Or making suppositories or cough syrup or
Wow, that escalated quickly.
Just saying. Still got to keep me on my toes, don't you, my darling dear? So the Greek yogurt, this is a little thick for this size whisk, so I'm going to trade it out. And then I've got another 3/4 of a cup of fat-free cream. And I'm going to go in with a teaspoon of vanilla. Now, you could do a vanilla bean. They're delicious. And I love the little flecky things that happen there. But since we've moved down here to this teeny tiny space, I don't have all those fancy things anymore. But if you did, you'd slice the vanilla bean, scrape it up, and all that good stuff would go in there. But instead, I've maximized my space and just bought a really good extract that already has the little seedy things in it. And I'm just going to mix. Now, what's going to happen to this, though, it's super thin right now. It's going to set up. And we talked about this as a snack because this is a really high protein, not so high carb snack. I know it's kind of a lot of work to go to as opposed to sugar-free pudding, but this would be a really nice, if you wanted to do something special like for Christmas or a special dessert, you could completely get away with this. And it's already starting to set up because that gel is going to go fast. So I like to do these little things, and Anna, I know you've got specific quantities that you can do for your snacks. So I've got one of these little mini dessert things, and what I do is I go in with a little bit of this from a pan that pours, and I'll do a few of them. And I do it kind of in layers. It's got a really good flavor. And what I found over the years is you don't really need, even when you get a slice of cheesecake or something, you don't really pass the first or second bite. It's all, the first or second bite is the best part, right? Or it's the bite or two that you take from your spouse and you go, oh God, you took the tip of my pie. Like the tip of the pie is the best part of the pie, but you ate the tip of my pie. The rest doesn't taste the same because it's the first bite or two, right? So if you go with these little guys, and then berries are a really low glycemic fruit. They sometimes can be kind of tart. I've had one or two of these, I admit, already, and they're a little tart. I'm going to drop it in, and it's probably going to sink. It might sink all the way to the bottom. I'm not even sure, but I'm going to drop one in each one. And then this is my little flavor powwow. This is reduced white balsamic. So I took a big container of white balsamic vinegar, and I reduced it down to 1/4 of its original volume. And it's sweet and sour.
That's white?
White balsamic.
Why is it that color?
Just because that's what happens when you reduce it like that. So you're going to put it in a pan and you're going to put it as low as it can go. And then you're going to walk away and come back
I love balsamic reduction.
in
love
like an hour. I mean, like it's got to come down to minimally half of its original volume. You can also do this. I'll tell you what's really good is pomegranate molasses.
Yeah.
Pomegranate juice, and you do the same thing. You do a little lemon zest. You put it on the stove, super, super low, and you let it just go. And that's also amazing. So I'm not going to do any more on these because it's going to sink, and I want to finish it with another berry and maybe a little piece of basil, because even though basil, your brother likes to eat basil leaves because I like to eat basil leaves. So I'm going to just finish this guy with one of them because basil is really very nice on dessert. And that's my panna cotta. It's blackberry with white balsamic reduction. And it's actually healthy for you in a nice little small container.
What are the calories in that?
You know what? I should have probably done it. I admit that I did not, but I will get back to you on that after I add it up. I'll do the protein, I'll do the carb, and I'll do the calories. But this little guy, this is only like a 2-ounce little, something. I'm going to say, even with the Greek yogurt in there, not more than 150.
And the carbs?
Carbs are minimal. I mean, you got from the Greek yogurt, any milk component has some carbs, but the protein in the Greek yogurt and the fat-free component of the cream bumps the protein up. So the carb and the protein should be equal or very, very close to it, which is the key to really maintaining glycemic control, is keeping the protein and the carb relatively even. So you're not whacked out of control with the carbohydrate, which will turn your insulin pump on, or the opposite, where you've got so much protein going on board that you're actually lowering your basal metabolic rate because your body goes, but there's no carb to burn. So I've got to turn the engine down. And that's where people kind of get confused with health and wellness, is that they don't understand that until that stays really simply the same or close to it, your basic metabolic rate will drop just by being in front of only protein with nothing, no fuel to burn. You will not turn on your own fat to burn unless you have that there. So we got some great stuff on our Facebook page. Be My Best Me has inspiration, recipes, all kinds of great information. You can find myself there and Montana as admin, PM, either one of us for more information. Happy to do a personal health assessment for anyone. Find out, if this program could be a good fit for you. Happy to do that. It's worked for a lot of people. It's worked for us. And I'm super happy to be able to help people as a pharmacist actually get off meds. Way more gratifying to me to get them off meds than to help them find a way to make the meds work. So appreciate you having me on, Montana.
Appreciate you being here. Should I check on it?
Oh, bring your manicotti out. Yeah.
Let me check on it. I need a cameraman. Can we hire someone to do that?
Oh, I don't know. And then we got to bring in more people, and then they tell us what to do. And you know how well we do with that.
We don't do well with that.
While you're doing that, I got to tell you a little bit. Your dad and I were out west last week.
Mm-hmm.
And that was interesting. So, we had a trip to Italy planned, and that was in April. Well, that didn't happen. So we thought, well, maybe we can make Spain in May. No, that didn't happen. So the airline finally said, you got till December to figure out what you're going to do or lose it. Okay. So we said, well, let's not go south because it's hurricane season, and that wouldn't be a great idea. So we decided we'll go out west. And then the whole flipping thing went on fire. So, there was that. How's your manicotti looking?
It's I'm not. Yeah, I think so. And I really kind of I know you don't like the mush. I literally have flour everywhere.
I would not expect anything otherwise.
It is the worst part about. I'll be covered in it.
100% you will.
For hours.
So we go out west, and the whole west thing is on fire. So we start out in Vegas because the flights were super cheap. We start out in Vegas. Nothing's open in Vegas except the casinos. Okay, well, not the end of the world. Not what we had hoped, but not the end of the world. So then we couldn't do any of the other stuff. So we fly to San Francisco. Okay, that looks like Halloween. It's orange and black there. So we rent a car and we go to Napa, and it's too smoky to do anything there. So we go to a winery, but you can't tour the winery. But at least we did a wine tasting. And we did a couple wine tastings. That was nice. The wine's already started to arrive, which is a bonus. It was one of those trips, just, oh, look at that. Wow, that looks great. Look, they blew right up. That's beautiful.
I kind of want to try
It
it.
really expanded, right? If you do that, the next time you do it, I almost want you to put a cookie sheet under it so it doesn't go all over your oven.
It doesn't. I know. I usually do. I usually do a cookie sheet, but it didn't, surprisingly.
That looks fat. I'm really jealous wanting that one.
I wonder if I should dig in, try it a little bit.
Oh, I would. I want some. I wish I was closer. You'd give me a plate.
I would. Keep going. I'm listening.
So it reminds me of that trip that your dad planned for me. That was our 25th wedding anniversary that turned into your wedding. And we went to France. Do you remember that guy? No, you were on your own honeymoon. You didn't have any idea what I was doing or care.
You mean when you went to France and didn't bring me? Yes, I remember that.
Yeah, well, because that was your wedding that, happened. So, and I'm pretty sure by then you had your own family going. Could be mistaken. That's, please, you're killing me. Oh, yum. All right, I'm going to eat panna cotta because that's not fair. I need a spoon, though. I need a spoon. There's got to be a spoon here. How is it? How's the pasta?
On a scale of 1 to, I'm not going to stop eating this, I'm going to crush it. It cooked perfectly.
Nice. And how long was that? I didn't really look at what time it went in.
Mm-hmm.
And this is crazy good. This balsamic reduction is just the sweet that you want.
Balsamic reduction is my favorite.
And the sour, the Greek yogurt's a little sour anyway, but.
You have to send me that recipe or post it.
You want the instructions, you mean? I could post the instructions.
No, I need to actually, I'll have to actually watch this again to be able to do it. Because I don't measure anything.
Oh, God.
It's a personal problem.
Not listening. So that trip to France that you missed out on?
Yeah.
Up with us not having our luggage for the entire 10 days, sleeping in a homeless shelter, jumping off a moving bus, and being in the same clothes for 7 of the 10 days.
Just amazing. Paris, here we come, huh?
Spared you that. Mother's love.
And the Jerusalem trip, yeah. And the Jerusalem trip. Didn't get to go on that one. All the rifles and stuff, missed out on that one.
Jerusalem trip? Really?
Yeah, I want to go there.
All right. Cool.
You want to go?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Especially now that there's peace in the Middle East.
Let's do it.
This was terrible.
That looked amazing.
Yeah, I had to do it though, because you were eating and making me hungry.
Well, I didn't want to, you get to test it out though, to make sure it wasn't poison for Dad,
Well, Dad'll know happily that it's safe to go there. So good. So where are your children? Why isn't everyone in the kitchen looking for this meal?
They're going to smell it very soon.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to go feed them. Love you.
Chiamo.
Bye.